Hi everyone, delonewolf here and welcome to the snoozefest of M-O. Now to start off, I'm not complaining about what happened in M-O. The aim of this video is to explain a little bit why things went the way they did and maybe to hopefully give some new or prospective EVE Online players a different perspective on those big nullsec battles that do create a lot of hype, draw a lot of interest to the game, but are not specifically fun aspects of the game of EVE Online for everyone. I'm sure that the 4,000 or 5,000 players that actually got there and managed to kill the Keepstar did have some sort of fun, but for me personally it was a little bit of a snooze fest. So let's start with the number one reason, the tie-dye, of course. This meant that the destruction, the unopposed destruction of an Excel citadel took more than 6 hours. I managed to stay there for a few hours. After that I just basically gave up. Yeah, tie-dye is a major factor once thousands of players start to fight in a single system. It is inevitable, right? These are the biggest battles in gaming possible, and so don't see this as a complaint around tie-dye or around EVE Online or anything like that. It's just a reality that you have to understand and that you have to face when you plan to join big nullsec blobs and these huge battles as well. You're in it for hours on end and you're in it with for a pretty slow and in my opinion rather boring experience as well. I mean, your client comes to a crawl, your frames per second goes down to like 5 or something like that when the battle is actually heating up, and I would personally not call it a fun experience. It's also the reason why I'm not joining a nullsec group, why I've never joined a nullsec group, because these kinds of battles to almost feel obligated a little bit once you join a nullsec group to stick in there for as long as possible is just not something that I can personally commit to at this point. So yeah, tie-dye is a major factor, but keep in mind, of course, that it is a necessary system to just enable these kinds of fights. If we didn't have tie-dye, we would not have 5,000 people in a single system doing stuff in EVE Online. So fully understandable, not exactly the most fun experience. The second aspect is the undefended nature, the one-sided nature of this specific fight. So this is something that maybe players can do something about if they really want to. On the other hand, people want to win, and so what happened is that so many attackers came into the system before the vulnerability timer of the Excel came out, that the defenders never had a chance to bring their own fleets into the system. By the time the citadel went vulnerable and people started shooting it, we already had 5,000 people in local. Add a few thousand defenders to that and you have a completely unplayable situation and most likely a crashing of the node as well. It also made the defense basically going a bit of a whelp, right? It would be just throwing several thousand chips at a much bigger and group that already has control over the grid, and it would be a useless destruction of ships because they would eventually still destroy the citadel anyways. It would just prolong the pain for everyone, and from that perspective I can fully understand that CO2 and Test Alliance decided to not engage in M-O to defend the citadel. They basically left it up to the attackers to finish the job, which is probably also what the attackers were wanting. It's actually been a war that had lasted for longer than most people expected. The defenders, CO2 and Test Alliance and their friends did a really good job staying into the fight, and the destruction of this Keepstar after taking over all of their space was basically the final stone that needed to be laid to fully finish the story of this war. And so from that perspective, I think it's also understandable that PLNC, Horde and all of their allies decided, you know what, we're just going to bring everyone, we're going to take control of the grid, we're going to destroy that citadel. If they want to bring it, sure, we'll be ready with 4,000 people. They won't be able to do anything and this war will be over, this battle is ours. So they were probably not looking for a great fight, they were looking to finish the war. basically. That of course does mean that just a few hours in, it was already all over Reddit, and you could clearly see that no one was going to come in and defend this Excel Citadel. All there was left for the attackers to do was just to sit there for 6 hours on end, shoot a single structure, watch it blow up, and that was the end of the battle, and probably the end of the war as well. So from one perspective, the perspective of the viewer, of course, the perspective of those people that did get hyped a little bit by what was happening in M-O, this could be a bit of a disappointment, but personally, yeah, I think that it's just the nature of the sandbox. You never know what's going to happen, and that is why I also want to touch on two other points. So these are the two major reasons why the M-O fight was a little bit of a snooze fest, a little bit of a disappointment probably for some people, but I think it's fully understandable, right? You can understand tie-dye is a necessity. You can understand that the attackers just wanted to get the job done, and that the defenders decided not to throw away their fleets into a meat grinder for hours on end in an attempt to, well, turn around something that was just not going to be turned around anyways, just because of the sheer numbers of the people already present. This also, I think, touches on a few things that I think are important to know about EVE Online. First of all, I would say streaming. There were a lot of streams of the MO battle there, and I watched most of the stuff from Marky Dragon, who had a pretty awesome stream at 4K about everything. But it's extremely hard just to stream EVE Online in general, because EVE Online is such a sandbox game. You never know what's going to happen. If you're out there solo or in a very small group and you want to go look for some trouble and PvP, you never know when one of the major groups picks up on your stream and then just starts camping you inside a station. You never know that you can roam around for hours on end and not see anyone in the game as well. That is perfectly possible. A lot of people were expecting a final battle, a final defense of the CO2 Excel Keepstar. That just didn't happen because they never got the chance to, and that is something that is just in the nature of EVE Online. You never know how something is going to turn out beforehand. You never know if there's going to be a fight, what kind of a fight it's going to be, or if you'll even have a chance to join in on that for whatever reason. It makes the game great. It makes the game unpredictable. It also makes the game extremely difficult to stream, and it is one of the reasons why I rarely ever stream EVE Online. I just always think, you know what, this could be a 3-hour stream with absolutely zero content. You never know, and that's just the reality of streaming EVE Online. It's probably the hardest game out there to stream, just because it is the truest sandbox out there as well. And the final point that I wanted to make as well, something that really struck me now with this fight in MO, is you can't plan hype. CCP tried that a little bit with the scope video, with announcing that they were going to stream the fight in MO. A lot of streamers were doing the same. Marky Dragon, he actually did a really good job in my opinion, covering everything, trying to show everything from different angles. But once the fight started and a few hours in, viewership clearly dropped, because it was also very clear that it was becoming a very one-sided affair there. And yeah, that is just something that is impossible to do in EVE Online. That is to plan hype within the game, because, you know, you could see this almost as the biggest troll ever for CCP as well, right? They had this awesome scope video. They were gonna stream the whole fight on Twitch as well, on their channel, and then CO2 and Test never even showed up for understandable reasons. But I can also see that, yeah, basically things didn't go the way CCP and a lot of us had hoped the final battle for the Keepstar was going to end with. Of course, everyone understands that. Everyone that plays EVE Online, especially CCP, understands this the nature of the game, and that it makes it impossible to plan for hype. That doesn't mean that they can't try, but I also do think that it means that they're not going to be disappointed by the outcome. They know that it's taking a bit of a gamble to say, hey guys, there's going to be this awesome huge fight in EVE Online in that system when this keep star is going to come out of reinforcement. Well, 5,000 people show up, all of them are attackers, it's completely one-sided. Slugfest that lasts 6 hours, not exactly the thing they probably had in mind when they first announced that they were going to stream the fight. Still, they stuck to it. I think CCP Logibro basically did all the work there, and I don't think that they're like disappointed, but people from outside of EVE, of course, can understandably be a little bit disappointed by that, and that is something that I would say a lot of people should keep at the back of their mind. EVE Online is the truest sandbox out there, and that makes it very difficult to stream and impossible to plan hype moments in a game like that. So I think those are lessons to be learned from MO. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.